Step right up, ladies and gentlemen, and genders of all ranges, and welcome to the Art Pit, conducted by the Jeremys, a pair of purveyors of fine art and oddities via the best damned art gallery this side of Long Beach, the Dark Art Emporium. Listen and wonder as we jibber-jabber about all things art, music, movies, and whatever other jive we decide to mosh together. Faint of heart, beware, and welcome to the Art Pit. For those of you who have not tuned in before, this is the Art Pits, and we are broadcasting from deep in the bowels of the Dark Art Emporium, which is a speakeasy art gallery through the Fourth Horseman Bar and Pizzeria in Long Beach, California. I am Jeremy Cross, and my counterpart in crime.
My name is Jeremy Schott.
And our guest today is artist and general badass, Kat Philbin.
Howdy.
So thank you for being here, Kat.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fun to get out of the house.
It's nice to drink beers with people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're social distance, by the way. She's so far away.
At least 6 feet.
Yeah.
I can barely see her. Kat has a show opening up here this weekend, and it's called 13 Foxes and the End of the World. Mm-hmm. What an ominous and intriguing title. So why? Why 13? 12 foxes and a really bad day?
Yeah, no. I mean, you got to go with the full ominous number if it's the end of the world.
Fair.
Yeah. And honestly, the foxes just sort of came in towards the end of the planning phase, at least. I don't know. When did you ask me to do this show? It was a little while.
Monsterpalooza last year.
Shit.
I was going to say, it's been over a year.
Yeah.
For sure.
Over a year.
So long ways in the works.
Yeah, it
was pressure.
It was Monsterpalooza. I remember, I ran up to your booth and was like, "Hey, solo show next year."
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And I was a little bit busy that day, I guess, so I was out of my mind for a while.
Fuck you, Jeremy. Yes. I got things to do.
Guess if I have to. You're here.
I'm not going to tell you no to your face.
Well, I'm certainly stoked to have your show here. You've not done a solo show with us before, but we are extremely familiar with you and your work.
I'm a big fan.
I've been watching your work for at least, we were talking earlier, it's got to be 10 years, right? Maybe 8?
I think, let's see. I first started showing at Hyena in 2009, and that was just dropping off a few pieces. I think my first actual show there was maybe 2010, so probably a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that a solo show in 2010?
No, that was a 2-man show with my brother. We did Sibling Rivalry.
Oh, I totally remember that.
Yeah. So we each did our own half of the gallery, and then we did one big collaborative piece that was this tentacled monster. Mine was half unicorn, and yeah.
Your styles couldn't be more different, which is what makes that really great. Her brother, by the way, is a gentleman that goes by the moniker Big Tasty. And he owns the fuck out of that because he is, I don't know what that means, but it feels right.
It is who he is.
It's totally who he is. I won't even say his real name because it doesn't seem right. I've never called him by his real name. I've known it forever, won't ever say it.
Yeah, it's almost weird that I do, but I mean, of course, I've known him for a while.
You've known him for longer than he's been going by Big Tasty.
But even in my phone, I have him as Big Tasty.
I remember going to see him at Moza many years ago, and I used to love to go visit him there. And hearing people call him by his real name freaked me out. It really bothered me. And I was like, how do you allow that? What are you doing? And I was like, well, it's a job, dude. It's I kind of have to.
2 different worlds. It's the restaurant world and it's the art world.
And, nice restaurant. True.
Yeah.
So You know, nobody wants their bartender to be like, "Yo, big tasty."
Well,
do.
you do,
Except
but
maybe
in a
me.
different environment, probably.
At a dive bar.
Right. Yeah, they had really good pizza. You would have loved that place. I guess they're still around.
Yeah.
I just
think-
don't know why I would go there now that he's not there anymore.
I know. I mean, it's really good pizza, though.
Yeah.
So, oh.
Good drinks, good pizza. So, 2010, Hyena. That's where we first see Kat.
Well, it wasn't my first show, but that was my first show at Hyena and probably where I first met you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what was before? Where were you? What were you doing?
I was living in Missouri, but like my first solo show was at a bar on Sunset that my brother set up for me, kind of with.
Was that the bar?
I don't remember. It might have been.
Was it red and black?
It was red and black. It was near Jumbo's.
The bar.
The bar. Okay, cool. That helps me a lot.
Yes. I also had shows there.
Yeah.
With Spine Stealer.
Aw.
And it was a really cool dive bar. It was pretty.
It was really neat.
It was weird that they allowed us to do that kind of thing there.
Yeah.
So that was your first LA show?
It was,
Okay.
yeah. It was set up by Hannah B., who is like Elijah Wood's sister, I guess. And she was super sweet and nice. And was like, oh, I can show my art. Because that was my first like show ever.
Ever?
Yeah, I had started like an Etsy shop over the summer. And then, like, yeah, it went from there.
So nothing in Missouri?
After that, like after I showed out here, then I got a little bit more confidence and started showing. There were a couple galleries in Springfield that I
So before
approached.
you officially moved?
Yeah.
What was that scene like there? What was Springfield?
Let's see. I showed with one gallery that just like they went under a few years ago called Good Girl Art, and they were really fun and quirky, and it was like half boutique and half gallery. And then I also did like First Friday art walks with it was like kind of a churchy community group that also had a gallery.
That sounds awesome.
And they were super nice, and they let pretty much anything go. So like it'd
Oh,
be a
that's
lot
good.
of
I didn't expect
you know,
that.
Yeah, no, it would be a lot of random landscapes, and then I'd be there with my stupid animals. And
Oh, that's great. When you said churchy, I expected the worst. So
I did too at first,
Yeah.
but everybody was really nice, and yeah, it wasn't like the people who were showing there had to be churchy. They were just doing their own thing
Gotcha.
at the same time. Yeah.
it was more just a community center that happened to be affiliated with a church.
Yeah.
It wasn't really.
And I don't even remember the
Doctrine heavy.
details of that
Yeah.
because I didn't get into it, didn't have to.
Right.
Oh.
So are you from Springfield?
Ish. I don't know. My parents were
Ish.
both in the Air Force, so they ended up settling down in Missouri when I was like 10, 11, in the middle of fucking nowhere. And then I went to college in Springfield, Missouri.
Did you study art in college?
I studied fashion design.
Oh.
So that's art.
Yeah. Not something I use anymore, but I enjoyed it.
But that was the passion early on. It's fashion.
Yeah, I liked making my own stuff, and then I kind of wanted to get into costuming a little bit, and I did immediately after college for like a magician in Branson, and then he disappeared without like paying me.
God damn it.
He just skipped town, and yep,
You were so excited to say that word too.
I know.
Oh man! So was the disappearance of the magician like one of the reasons why you
Yeah, how'd
stopped
you-
liking it? Like what happened?
I don't know. I didn't want to get like. Maybe it was because it was like kind of a dream job. I was going to get to make hats for miniature horses, and I was sewing like Christmas themed thongs for some sort of show.
That sounds amazing.
And it was amazing. And then like the next interview I had after getting over like the depression of losing my first job out of college, like it was just taking the dry cleaning of the costumes and getting it done, and just like, I don't want to do that.
Just being a gopher for
Yeah.
costumes
Yeah.
instead of doing
And I mean, so then I went and got a shitty retail job, which wasn't better, but like it let me work on art stuff.
Yeah. So were you always drawing the kind of stuff that you do now, or Was it more fashion oriented before? Were you always doing this on the side?
There was more fashion oriented stuff going on in my sketchbook, but it was always its own separate thing. I feel like I kind of have a lot of styles now. Like I do whatever I feel like, so it was maybe the same thing, just more like clothing drawn in there.
More clothing. Yeah, there's not a lot of clothing in your pieces now.
Yeah, most of the
there's a
time.
significant absence of clothing, actually, with most of your pieces now that I think about it.
Yeah, most of the time if I draw like a character wearing clothes, it's like a simple shift dress. It's just not, I don't want it to take attention away from the rest of the piece.
And most of the time it's anthropomorphic animals and things. So
that too.
They're not rocking garb. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow, that's interesting. I did not know that, and I find that very interesting. I find that you came from a fashion background. So you had a shitty retail job back in Missouri. What was the thing that kept you there? Before you finally jumped out here.
I was in a shitty relationship.
That was what happened.
Yeah. So that lasted longer than it should have. And then as soon as I got out of it, I moved back in with my parents. It was like September, and then by February I was out here.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I made all my plans and got it done. I lived on my brother's couch for 3 months and got established. And
Imagine that meant sleeping with dogs.
it was great. They're good dogs.
They're good dogs. So
Andy Ruman.
So you've been here now for a decade or so, or about a decade, just shy of a decade.
Like 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years.
Yeah.
And
I'm bad at counting, so if that's not correct, I apologize.
it's not a decade.
It's
so
not.
we're there.
Still in it.
Oh, the beer's happening. Do you miss it out there at all? Are your parents still there?
Yeah, they still live in Niangua, which is where they live in the middle of nowhere. It's like 45 minutes away from Springfield, and yeah, they live there. I miss like the woods in the middle of nowhere, especially now with all the COVID stuff. I just want to run away and be in some trees, not worry about it.
There's a lot of trees and forests in your work.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense that you miss those. Did you spend a lot of time out in the woods out there?
Ish, yeah. I mean, I kind of regret that I didn't do more. I was like a prissy teenager for a lot of it, and was like, I don't want to get bugs on me, but yeah, no, I like just going outside and being able to be in nature.
I'd imagine that with the proximity, that was probably a big part of a lot of kids' lives growing up there, is being in the woods and doing things in
Yeah,
that.
and I don't know, there are a lot of hunting folk and just country kids riding our four-wheelers? What are the little
ATVs?
ATVs.
Yeah. I
I
grew up
obviously
doing those
did not
too.
do that.
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't know. So I was kind of a loner and weirdo. Just went out, sat along the trees.
Drew dresses.
Drew dresses.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could, my bedroom, didn't have any screens or anything. I could just go sit on my roof and look at the stars and do that sort of thing. I never snuck out to go to parties. I just snuck out to
Look at the stars.
sit outside and look at the stars.
That's
do weird
awesome.
rituals.
What?
Yeah.
No, we're not leaving that alone.
Are you a witch, Kat?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know.
Tell me about your rituals.
I didn't do anything interesting, but
Well, what were they about? Was it, I want this
I don't
guy to
fucking-
like me. I want this girl to die.
no.
I want my cat to come back from the dead and kill my neighbors.
No, I
What
was.
were you up to there?
It was very peaceful, and yeah, I didn't want to hurt anybody, and definitely didn't want anybody from Niangua, Missouri, to like me. So it was probably more go away sort of spells. No, I don't know, magic and give me money and.
Was it was the magic something that you kind of made up as you went along, or were you a student of it?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
It was, I we could go to Barnes and Noble every once in a while when we drove to town, and I'd get like the terrible Wicca books that, like, looking back on those, it's like, eee.
I was totally into that stuff as
Yeah.
a teenager too, and it was a lot of that, like, you make up what you can't find from the books that you get at Walden Books.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't have a Walden. I think we had a Borders for a while.
Yeah. I remember a lot of that. It's like, well, I can kind of see how this ritual was supposed to go. It seems dumb, so I'm going to make it my own this way. And whether it works or not is irrelevant. It's the practice of it that was important.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like meditation or just time examining yourself. Is the way I looked at it.
I don't think I looked at it as much that way when I was a kid, but now it's more of that.
Oh, no, I definitely didn't look at it that way when I was a kid.
Okay.
No, in retrospect.
It's like, you seem very advanced.
No, at the time, I was just trying to make spells happen and talk
Yeah.
to Satan. Come on, there was nothing advanced about it. Let's see. I need more beer before I think of my next
I'm
thought.
about there, too.
Let's cheers to next thoughts.
We went one way, and then we were coming this way, and then we went that way.
Well, I got really curious about the woods because
yeah.
I love the imagery in your pieces. Like, it's often in the woods.
Yeah.
Like, most often in a wooded environment, and it's really beautiful. So there's a reverence there.
For sure.
But also, there's a macabre sense of the spooky with it.
Yeah, most of the time my woods are like, like either winter trees or dead trees. It's a lot of bare branches, not a whole lot of foliage going on. I haven't fully examined that. It might just be the mood I want to make, but yeah.
I don't know what that says about me yet. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, examining what your art says about you is a whole thing. Like, nobody ever gets it right?
Yeah.
But every once in a while, it dawns on you that you've painted something that's extremely personal that nobody else will understand, and you're kind of aghast at yourself for doing it.
You try to make it, like, obscure enough that, like, they don't see how personal it is, I guess.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think most people won't understand.
Yeah.
Maybe those closest to you, but at the very most. But yeah.
And if it gets too close, then you just, like, change the name so it doesn't seem as personal. Like, oh, yeah.
Totally. So let's talk more about your symbolism. Since we're talking about the forest of the trees, let's switch to talking specifically about this show.
Okay.
So, having looked over the work, and honestly, there's pieces I haven't seen yet because I haven't looked at the latest email you sent earlier today.
I've been very behind.
It's a treasure trove waiting for me to unbox it. But everything that I have seen. If you're not familiar with Kat's work, she's a pen and ink artist. It's very stark black and white illustrative works, often with anthropomorphic animals and foliage, lots of moons. I like that most of your pieces take place at night.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this show is 13 Foxes in the End of the World. And you said the foxes came in kind of late. And we got a little sidetracked.
Yes.
So tell me about the foxes, and how do they lead us to the end of the world?
Foxes for me are, I don't know if they're not an everyman, but like they're both, obviously predators, but then fox hunts are a big thing. So they're prey, and like in a lot of lore, they're trickster gods. So they're just a Swiss Army knife that I can use, and like they go in a lot of places. And a lot of the show is like a little zine book thing that I did about foxes. Like they are doing various actions, which I know sounds stupid, I guess. I don't know. But
No,
They're stupid animals.
they are stupid animals. That's the whole thing.
By the way, just so it doesn't sound like he's being a dick, that is her on Instagram is stupid animals. So
Yeah, and I mean that came about through self-deprecation anyway.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, no, it goes from very mundane actions that are just hunting a chicken to the surreal, weird things that the foxes can do. So almost storybook-like, which I guess is often an influence. And that's what I was going for with those guys.
I really like the fox as a Swiss Army knife for storytelling.
Yeah.
That's really awesome because there are so many facets to that particular character or that figure, and it's been used in so many different ways.
And like even with my own art, like I've done pieces with foxes that were like actively like representing something terrible and negative in my life, but for the most part, I don't know, they just exist. They're a part of everything. I'm floundering now. I don't know what else to go with.
Totally fine. Well, I mean, they're a part of nature, and so like you said, both prey and predator, and I like the trickster god aspect of it too.
And they're cute as hell.
And they are
Yeah,
cute
they're
as
cute.
hell.
And they can be like creepy
we have
or
a
like
fox?
sneaky or
We have a fox, don't we? Is he still up there?
oh, like a taxidermy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we have a fox. We have a texture. I'll bring him over.
Aw.
He can sit on the table and keep us company.
He's cute as shit.
Is it that guy directly?
He's on top of this
Oh.
cabinet. He's a red fox. There he is.
Aw.
I love watching like the videos of like people that have foxes as pets.
I do too. Like
Like I really
I have
want
a
one.
real hard time because I don't think it's okay.
I
but
don't think it's okay either. But then part of me is like, fuck, like I really
Yeah.
want to have that fox in my house. Because they're cute as shit.
Hey, can I pet him?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
He's so soft.
Oh, what a cool
Before all this happened, I got to go to the Sylmar Animal Learning Center, and it's just like a small sort of wild animal rescue thing, and they've got a bunch of foxes. And like there's a guy who worked there, and you could just go play with the foxes in their pens, and that seemed like the ideal thing. So
Yeah.
they're not like a pet, they're not something farmed by weird Russian dudes,
Yeah.
but you still get to pet them.
Yeah.
So you got to hang out and pet foxes.
I did not get to pet the foxes. I got to
I came in late while
vicariously
getting
live through.
fox and beer.
No, it's at the Sylmar Animal Learning Center, I think was the full name. This is really mesmerizing.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm not even stoned.
He's a good little fox. He's got a sweet little face too.
Though I also like the bad taxidermy foxes, like the really
No, I love bad pets.
like the one that's sitting there on his chair all sad.
Where they look all crazed. There's one that they've turned into a GIF, and actually I think I used it when I was promoting your show.
Oh, you did.
And it's a
Was it the sad one?
horrifying fox taxidermy that somebody has gone through and animated. And he's like flailing his arms, and he's got this psychotic look on his face. Oh, I love it. I've used that more than once, I'll be honest.
So why are the foxes here with the end of the world? What's that part? Let's do the second half.
I feel like it's timely.
Well, duh.
Well, yeah. I mean, you did ask me over a year ago, as we've established. It's been a hard year.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. And, like, I definitely just didn't think about it too hard for a couple months. And then, like, the fucking Amazon rainforest caught on fire, and Australia caught on fire, and everything felt like it
Oh, I
was...
forgot about Australia.
Yeah, it felt like the end of the world, and I just didn't... It was so big, and, like... I don't know, nature is such a big part of my work. It didn't feel like something I could ignore. And so I definitely knew I was going with an apocalyptic theme.
So we're talking last fall then that you were making that decision.
I was with the overarching, like, end of the world thing.
So
like,
way before we actually hit apocalypse on
I know,
soil.
it just keeps going down.
Yeah. You're prophetic.
I would not, like... plan an art show during the apocalypse. Like, it's hard to focus and know what you're doing.
It is.
Yeah.
You have all this time.
I know
But
you
it's
have
hard
so
to
much
use it.
time, but I don't know what I've been doing for like 3-4 months. I mean, obviously I've been doing a lot of drawing, but
For the first month of it, I didn't do any art. I couldn't.
yeah, definitely.
Like, I couldn't bring myself to focus on it. I didn't care. I didn't see the point in it. like there was so much just negative oppression surrounding the fact that we were, oh my God, this is actually happening.
Yeah. And then
Like we're entering a global pandemic that, unlike we've seen for 100 years, I couldn't, like art seemed pointless.
it didn't seem pointless, and I was like really jealous of the people who were able to harness that time and like do beautiful things with it, like
Me too.
right away, but not something I could do. Yeah.
It took me about a month and a half to 2 months until towards the end of April to really like shake it off and go, fuck, I have a show I need to work on.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then the switch clicked and it was on. But, you know, what about for you? Like, at some point, did it turn?
Ooh, for me, it turned when it was like, oh shit, if I don't do this, I'm going to have to write a really embarrassing email saying, I'm so fucking sorry, but I don't know if I can do this. So, yeah, the past
We
month,
would have understood.
I know, but I just couldn't do that. Like, so the past month has been like 12-hour days of just sitting and doing tiny lines. Like, why am I not like big brush strokes, like abstract art that would make it easier for me to get done? No, it's really time consuming.
Yeah, you have an ability to do very minute pen movements and create these amazing images through what feels like 1 million lines in every inch.
I wish there were a way to measure how many I've like made.
There's got to
Like
be.
every little tiny hatch.
I feel like we could do that.
I can't.
I
A
don't
programmer of
want
some
to.
kind can.
I feel like I have a friend with a microscope who can make this, and some patience. We'll just get them really stoned and take a little microscopic corner of one of your pieces and say, okay, count, motherfucker. So how long does it take you to do one piece? Obviously, size and detail being variants, but an idea.
Like, usually brainstorming and all of that will take the longest time. So
Do you
like,
sketch
I
before?
sketch terribly. Like my sketchbooks are just like these tiny little scribbles, like usually thumbnails. Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 if I know I need to figure out an angle of a thing. And then I just draw the pencils straight on the paper I'm going to use. And
I'm fascinated by sketchbooks, so.
I wish mine were better. Some people have really pretty sketchbooks, but
Oh, mine
I
are
just
horrible, but I think that that's part of the fun. Is it's about the process, not about how well executed the sketch is.
yeah, for sure. But I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like more planning would help me out sometimes. With this show especially, I had like a lot of issues. Like I would start a piece, and then there would be something horribly wrong with it, and I'd have to start over. Like. With one of the main pieces I did that has a lot of titties, I got that almost completely finished. I've got a whole other one that's in full color, like definitely very different, but the same concept, the same goddess, and it just didn't work, and I had to start over. Like,
So you scrapped it completely.
Yeah, it's still like under a pile of papers on my desk, but it just didn't work.
No,
Yeah.
not enough titties.
There were more titties, I think.
What? How is that not better?
I don't. You might have hit too many titties because there's a lot of titties in that piece.
Is
So,
there
like-
is there a limit? Is there
I don't know. Like there's
is there a titty threshold?
So, like, if you combine that one with the previous one, like, I've drawn a lot of nipples in the past 2 months, I guess.
Yeah, that one's got like at least 20.
Some of them are covered up. There's probably, like, 36.
I'm just saying. You know, she knows exactly how many titties are in that piece. You see that?
I have not counted.
She's like, there's not 36 nipples. Some of them are covered up, but there are 36 titties. What's that piece called?
Don't ask me that. I have to write my inventory, and
Wait,
I'm
what
not
was that
sure.
piece called? I'm sorry, I didn't catch it.
I don't know.
Don't ask me that.
It's not that I don't know, but it's in my sketchbook, and I have to, like, figure out the exact wording. Like, you know, there's a whole cadence, and,
Just
like,
being
it's got to be
ornery.
pretty. I'm being not prepared.
Well, we'll get it there. It's
Yeah.
fine. The important thing is that the work is in front of us. It's actually sitting on a table just a few feet away. And like I said, most of it, I'd say a good portion of it, because I think you've sent me like 10 pieces.
I think I sent, maybe you've seen half.
And there's a whole nother group that I haven't seen, so
Yeah.
I'm really excited to dig in. You dug in a little bit.
Yeah, while you guys were grabbing beers, I dug through. I didn't expect this much, and they're all awesome.
I don't doubt that.
I kind of surprised you with a little bit at the end.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
I have to have Leslie come over because we collect your work. We love your work, and there's been shows where Leslie's working the bar, or not the bar, the thing, and somebody will come up and to buy one of your pieces, and she'll get pissed off. So I have to make sure she gets to see the show before the public gets to see
Collector
it. So
preview.
She can get her piece.
Right.
Oh,
Because we have, I think, 3.
I don't want Leslie cutting anybody over on Kat Philbin. Just saying. I feel like it could happen.
She will. Like, we've had so many pieces come in that she's gotten, like, people have come up and like, I want to buy this, and she'll look at it and like, fuck you. Well, she's like, Jeremy, don't sell this. And like, but we have rent.
Buy it or don't.
Yeah.
Don't buy shame.
So
other people.
I'll give Leslie the preview. She can pick her own
Yeah.
piece. No discount. Double, actually. I'll charge her double.
So having had, I guess at this point, 13 or so months to work on the show, with some intervals of not being able to work on the show,
yeah.
how did it evolve? I mean, we talked about the rainforest and what happened in Australia and like how that kind of took on some meaning in the show. How did it change after that?
I had a lot of pretty grandiose plans that it's not that they fell through, but like I had some other pieces planned that were a lot darker and actually dealing with the end of the world, like stuff actually happening that wasn't like destruction and things that were, it would be like the actual themes were strength through that destruction and things like that, but I just couldn't bring myself to actually draw those. Like, they'll still happen at some point, but I wanted what I came up with to be more hopeful and to be, I think a lot of the pieces that I did are sort of after the end of the world, after things have gone to shit and
So we're
like
going
new
through
stories
the rebirth.
emerge, and yeah, it's definitely a rebirth.
Yeah.
Like new mythologies based on the old ones, and like new beautiful things happening. And like it's fun to say like, oh, there's a lot of titties, but also it's like a goddess feeding the
Right.
world, and yeah.
I didn't assume that they were arbitrary titties.
No, they're very important titties.
I just want to keep saying titties. I'm sure you realize that.
VIT.
That's really cool. I'm now even more excited to look at the new pieces to kind of see which ones fit into which side of that.
I think it'll be obvious. Like, yeah. Just through dimension alone.
The symbolism in your work is always very loose as a viewer. Like there's a character or a few characters and they're doing something, but it's really hard to tell. And I guess it depends on who you are and what your mood is, on whether or not it's malicious or joyous. And I feel like you play the line on that really successfully. I don't know if it's intentional or not. I might be making it up completely in my own head.
It's super intentional.
Okay.
Like, I definitely want the viewer to be able to make up their own story, and like I try to deal with my characters and their expressions and everything in a way that it can be ambiguous and I don't know, something for people to figure out on their own. Like I definitely have my own stories in my head as I'm working with stuff, but I don't want to let those out, I guess. I want to keep them to myself and let other people have their own experience with the piece.
Now you don't have a finite thing that you want to convey. You have a finite thing that you're putting into it, but what you're conveying is the ambiguity of it. Like
Yeah.
it's
Kind of like you're putting intention into the piece, but whatever I take from it is.
Yeah, and like with a lot of stuff I've done in the past, and like I haven't fully decided with some of these pieces, but I'll give it a much longer name and then shorten it down for the official name, and sometimes I won't ever tell anybody. Like, it's got a real name and it's got the show name.
Secret names?
It's a weird magic thing again. Like,
It's
the power
very much
in,
a magic
in
thing.
the true
Yeah.
name. And I like having that to myself, and sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll share with my Instagram today, like, this is the real name of this piece. And
That's really interesting. I've never thought about that aspect of naming a piece and having it actually have a secret and being a form of magic, like you said, like the secret name. Like as soon as you said the secret name, that's immediately what I thought about. I was like, holy shit, she's fucking pulling magic with her art in that way as well.
And this is stuff I've never talked about. Like, it feels really weird to like even let this part of it out into the world, because that's usually kept very close to my chest. I feel weird.
I feel like you're not giving much away though. Like you're telling a story out of school, but we don't really know what school that is. We don't know what you're doing there. We don't know who your teachers are.
Who are your teachers? What inspiration? Like, you know, like you have a very distinct style. Like, who inspired you?
Well, I think probably the most obvious one is like Edward Gorey.
Fuck yeah.
Like,
yeah.
if
I totally see that, and it's strange. Here's how awesome that is. I've never made that correlation before.
Oh, really?
And I'm an insane fan of his. Uh-huh. But it also explains directly why I love your work so much. And but your work is so not what he does in context
yeah.
that I've never put those two together.
Oh, good. I have like a lot of anxiety about that one, because I'll have people like comment on a piece that isn't Gorey-esque at all. It's just like something I've actually done. It just has a lot of hatching in it, and they'll say like, "Oh yeah, that's like Edward Gorey." I'm like, oh,
It could also
shit,
just
that
mean I'm a
wasn't
moron and
intentional.
not very observant.
I guess that's true. Okay, I might be reading
are a
too much
moron.
into it.
But now that you say it, it's so obvious that like that is definitely an inspiration.
Yeah.
But I, to your credit, I'm saying that I don't think it was obvious before you said it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
And I think it's more from a technique point of view, because like the way he does hatching, and there's a lot of just like not cross hatching, it's just like straight lines up and
Right.
down, or yeah. But also content a little bit. I mean, he's got that whole macabre style. I can't talk. Couple beers. Apart from Edward
We're not going to
Gorey-
have any less beers,
No.
so you might as well get used to it.
Okay. You just gotta let it settle. Other like illustratory guys, like Maurice Sendak for sure. That was a big influence on when I started coloring pieces, like the way that Where the Wild Things Are is colored. Like it's still very like
Yeah.
intricate line work
could see
with
that.
just like almost treating it like a coloring book. And that's, if like I fuck up a piece, it's almost always there. It's like I've done so much work with all the ink, and then going in with watercolors, shit.
Watercolors over ink is a risky proposition. Mm-hmm. Like,
But you gotta just go all in. I don't
Yeah.
know if you're gonna do it. I only have one color piece for this show.
what?
Which
Yeah.
is
That's
beautiful.
it. I'm canceling it. Only one.
It's awesome too.
I don't doubt it. I love it when you do color, but I love your black and white stuff
Yeah.
equally as well. We have this piece here that I think we've now had this piece for 2 years, and it's a color piece that you did, and like I've had at least 5 or 6 different people like ready to buy it and not buy it, and I don't understand.
Which
You
one?
might be cursed. Maybe you cursed it. I'm not sure. The cockatrice.
I really want that one to sell. I'm really happy with it.
It's a
Like,
really
think-
good
I
piece.
love it so much, and it's strange because it pulls people in, and they're so close to pulling the trigger so many times, and then something changes their mind, and I'm just like, what is going on? Because we've had this piece for I think you did it for the first Tiny Tears.
Yeah, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it was.
So it's not been. It's now officially, actually, as of this last month, been 2
Yeah.
years that this piece is still here. I don't know.
And I mean, I know the cockatrice isn't like the sexiest of monsters, but I just
I
thought
love a
it was.
cockatrice. I mean, it's got cock in it.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, and we have the owl piece. I love the owl piece.
With the owl piece, what was that for? I don't remember what the owl piece was for.
I think that was familiars.
Yeah,
it
that might have been
familiars?
I
it.
think it was familiars.
Okay.
I love that piece because, like, it's just like, oh fuck, she just painted a bunch of owls, and then when you dig in and you start looking, that's
Some
when
fucked
you.
up owls in there.
Oh, there's
There's
an
some more
owl.
owls.
There's an owl in there. He's got like a human body just hanging out of his mouth.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've never noticed
Yeah.
that.
And there's like some with hands and some with like upside down faces
Yeah.
and
I
extra
apparently
eyes.
need to look at
and
the owls a lot more often.
The owls are not what they seem.
Oh,
It's
is that-
definitely
is
a
that
piece
Twin
meant to
Peaks?
be. Yeah.
It's
But-
such a good piece.
Yeah.
And it's been sitting there on the fucking wall, and I don't understand why nobody will pull the. I guess I'm gonna have to pull the trigger. I'll just buy it.
Yeah, you just buy it.
I'll just take it home.
Just put your goddamn money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Well, I can't do that. I own everything in the fucking gallery.
Right. I know. I feel the same way.
That's why I opened the gallery, so I would quit buying so much.
Like, at least we can look at it here for a while, but we can't take it home.
You just got to get comfy here. You got couches and stuff.
Oh, these couches we've been comfy on many, many times. You got to remember, these couches were at Night Gallery before here.
Were they? I don't remember the space well enough. That's amazing.
Yeah, so I've been sleeping on these couches for over 8 years. We're well acquainted.
Yeah, that and the cabinets in the front room. Those are all from Night Gallery. And these stands, we all picked that.
All Robert Brown
Nice.
made.
Yeah, when they were moving up north and closing the gallery, we snagged everything.
What's Kat been doing during the apocalypse?
I don't think I'm terribly interesting. I think I'm doing the same stuff that like a lot of people are. I've got a sourdough starter.
What?
I've got a sourdough starter.
What's that mean?
Just making bread.
I'm making bread.
Okay.
It's like a live
Isn't
yeast.
that called like an oven? What's a sourdough starter? I really don't
okay.
understand. I'm not
so
big
I've got
into-
an oven, obviously. I'm not like baking bread on some coals. I've got the sourdough starter is basically like a natural yeast. Like you mix flour and water. I got mine from like a Facebook group.
I know enough that it's like a living thing.
Yeah, it's a
right?
living thing.
And you can't
It's-
just make it. You have to get it from somebody who's
No,
kept
you
it
can
alive.
make it. You
Oh,
can make it. It's basically just mixing flour and water and letting like the natural yeast that lives in the air and lives in the flour itself to bloom and grow. And
Okay.
you feed it. You feed it like I keep mine in the fridge because I
Kibble?
haven't been baking much. You just put flour and water in it and like keep it alive. Mine is called David Hasselhoff.
God damn it!
I am not.
How
usually,
is David's bread?
He's all right. He's made
Yeah?
me some really good breads.
You know, what do you eat on those breads? Like jelly, butter, sandwiches?
It depends on what I make. If I've added herbs and stuff, I'm just making it. I've like done goat cheese and like raspberry preserves.
now you're
and
talking.
I like fancy fucking cheese.
Oh,
Like
damn.
it's nice.
That's right up my alley. Anytime you mix jam and goat cheese, like I'm in 100%.
Yeah.
So you're making bread.
Making bread. I've got a garden.
What are you doing in the garden? Burying bodies?
Growing
No,
weed.
I live in an apartment, so I just have like a little bit of outdoor space. Like I'm ground floor, and it's like concrete outside, so I've got a lot of containers and one raised bed. And I don't know. I've got tomatoes. I've got peppers. I've got passion fruit. A lot of herbs. I got
How are the
stuff growing.
peppers? Hot?
All my peppers have been eaten by rats.
What?
There's so
The
many fucking
rats
rats.
like hot peppers?
They're not. I mean, they're bell peppers,
Oh, okay.
but I don't know how hot they are because the rats have eaten them.
Fuck those rats.
I know. I need to get traps and stuff, but
You don't want to kill the rats?
I'm about at that point.
Yeah.
Like they eat everything. They've eaten my early tomatoes. They've eaten all my bell peppers. They climb on my passion fruit vine, and I think they eat the flowers. I'm not sure. I only have like 2 fruit coming up.
I'm a seasoned rat killer.
Do you have tips?
I do.
Do you have traps?
I do.
Okay.
My best tip for catching rats is you got to get the old school wooden pallet spring-loaded trap.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen glue traps and those are awful. Like,
And then
I've
you
tried to
take
deal with those once. So,
kibble.
yes.
Dog
Kibble?
or cat kibble.
Okay.
And you hot glue it to the bait set.
Like right where the trap
So
is
there's
gonna.
this little
Yeah.
platform where you put the bait.
This is not good podcast material.
Oh no, it's great podcast material.
It's terrible.
People love this shit. So before this, so for years, I've had problems with rats because we have massive vines and trees around our place, and I killed probably a dozen rats a year for X years. Yes, I murder rats. It's a thing I do. Yeah. But it didn't stop them. You stopping them?
No, you're fine.
Until I found a podcast, not a podcast, but a video of somebody that took hot glue and glued the
So they
baits,
can't just
so they
grab
can't
it.
pull it off. Because that was always the thing, is they get the bait, like peanut butter cups and whatever. They just get the bait and run. They're smart. Rats are fucking smart. And they will outsmart most traps. And once I figured that out, man, it took me 3 months to completely decimate the rat population around my place. And now there's no more rats.
All right.
You don't feel like you're cheating?
Fuck them. Fuck those rats. Dude, they would eat my paint tubes. Okay, this is a funny story,
Paint
but it's
tubes?
also horrifying. They would eat my paint tubes because I have a giant trough. It's like a 4-foot trough that's all my paint tubes. They would go through and bite through them and eat the paint. And I didn't understand until I would like pick up a tube and squeeze it, and it would come out the side on my hand. This is oil paints. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I started hunting, and I found this rainbow shits
Oh my goodness.
all over my studio. like it was kind of pretty. But it cost me thousands of dollars in paint.
Oh, man.
So immediately I went on full on fucking murderous rage and was trying to do anything I could to kill every last one of these
Yeah.
things. So yeah, hot
I mean,
glue.
Erin
and
and I
kibble.
have a buddy, Donna, who she's been a vegetarian for many years and stuff. She has like a Hyundai, whatever. She got a new car very recently. Apparently, like all the new cars from China have like they're made with cornstarch or something weird in a lot of the important parts of the car. Tubes.
Cornstarch. Okay.
I don't know, not corn. Don't fucking
So
quote me
it sounds
on
like something
the
that
thing.
attracts
I'm-
rats.
It was completely eaten by rats. Like she just got like one little ding and then took it into the thing, and it was like everything had been eaten, just like by rats.
Rats are
And,
horrible.
Yeah,
Like
and
I even used to own a rat.
they're so cute.
I
As
had a
pets.
purple rat.
Purple.
Yep, he was. I used Manic Panic. If you remember Manic Panic, Manic Panic. It was the all natural dye.
Of course, I've used
Yeah.
Manic Panic many times.
So I had a purple rat named Boulders because he had giant balls that dragged behind him, and he lived in my leather jacket because I was a homeless punk rock kid. And I loved that rat. And then one day we all dropped acid at a friend's house, and I couldn't find my rat. And then we picked up the couch cushions and we found the rat. And then my friend Turkey tried to give him CPR, and it was this really intense moment because we're all fucking frying balls.
That's terrible.
But my friend Turkey was trying so hard to bring
Turkey.
Boulders back to life, and it didn't work. So I'm not just a hater of rats.
Was Boulders an accident? Like, while you guys were hanging out, he got
Oh,
like
totally.
crushed on
Yeah,
the
like
okay.
he just
It wasn't.
he got out
Yeah,
of the
the manic
jacket.
panic. He ate the manic panic and died.
No, it's all natural. It's
No,
fine.
he probably like my jacket
If
was
they
probably
can
on the
eat
couch
oil
and
paints.
got out of it and ran under the couch cushions because he would run all over the
right.
place when I was at somebody's
I want to make an
house.
official statement: is
Yeah.
that the Dark Art Emporium does not support the killing of rats or
Fuck
the
rats.
dying of rats.
I don't.
Well,
I don't
that's our
think I want my
official
podcast
position.
To be
That's
about dead
not my
rats.
official position. It's Jeremy's position. That's the other Jeremy's position.
well.
I love rats unless they're being invasive and doing bad things, and then fuck rats. Sorry, not sorry.
I'm gonna live
Roaches,
trap
on the
them
other
and
hand.
like release them up on the mountains by the Burbank.
Yeah, they won't
Yeah.
find their way down.
No.
They're not smart or anything. By the way, like every time I kill a rat, if it makes you feel any better, I think of The Secret of Nim. And it makes me sad after I cheer.
At least you're not experimenting on them.
No, that's true.
Like that was their main. Like,
But the humans were doing it. They were
Yeah.
doing it to themselves.
were they?
Yeah.
No, I thought it was like human experiments that.
Oh,
led
they
to it.
first started the rats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever seen that
It's been
movie
a long
Rat
time.
Boy?
What?
It was like,
Rat Boy.
oh man, this is a movie like
I love how much we're talking about rats, though.
Rat Boy is amazing. It's like I think it's in the 80s. It's an 80s movie. This
Live
guy.
action?
Yes, and the guy has he's born, but he looks like a rat. Like he has a rat nose, all the rat things.
Features.
Terrifying.
Is this just
Terrifying.
Stuart
I saw
Little?
it when I was a child. You look it up, Rat Boy.
Okay.
It's just called Rat Boy.
Yeah, it's called
that
it's
on the
it's
nose.
this
All right.
Rat Boy.
All right. I'm going to look it up, Rat Boy.
Watch Rat Boy.
So.
Let me know I'm not crazy.
It
I dreamed this movie.
Man, nobody's seen it but you.
No, it's one of those movies like I talk about it all the time. It's like the TV show Key West. Nobody's ever seen the TV show Key West.
Never even heard of it.
Oh.
I fucking love this show.
Is it like Miami Vice?
No, he's a writer that moves to Key West to become like
Bored?
Ernest Hemingway.
No.
And he writes
Key
for the
West?
local. He writes for the local paper. And
Have you seen it?
I have not. No.
oh,
I'm
Leslie found it for me for my birthday. She went on eBay and bought like
This is how big a deal this is.
ripped DVDs of this TV show that nobody knows but me. And it's the same with Rat
Is
Boy.
this like 90s?
Yeah, I think it was probably early 90s.
Yeah.
I was probably like 13.
Wow.
If you want to borrow my DVDs, I got them now.
Yeah, I don't know if I do.
They're really shitty. It's not a good show. Like
Does
I
it have,
remember it
like,
being way
stars?
better.
Who's
Like,
in it?
Fuck, I can't read. Jennifer
David
Tilly's in it.
Hasselhoff. What?
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly's in
Okay,
it.
I'm in. That's all it took.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly's in it.
And we're talking early 90s Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah.
So in.
Prime Jennifer Tilly.
Not like weird hoodie, like on a poker table.
No.
Yeah.
No, this is good Jennifer Tilly. Anyway, sorry.
That's not good Jennifer Tilly. It's just
Took us on a
my
totally
idea of
weird
Jennifer Tilly.
rant.
Now we're talking about Jennifer Tilly and rats. See, this is what happens when you keep drinking through a podcast,
the
ladies and
second
gentlemen.
half.
Broadcast.
Yeah. Broadcast.
Broadcast.
Where we're prodding all of this out of ourselves. Oh, God damn.
Prodding them rats.
So, now that tangent's over, let's get back to what we were saying. So, gardening.
How did we go there? Yeah, gardening.
And
Rats.
what else have you been doing to keep yourself? What have you been watching? Like, what's are you watching? Are you much of a TV person or a movie person?
I mean, I wish that I were better. It's weird that it's been 4 months and I'm like, what the fuck have I been watching?
I mean, I feel a lot of us are the same.
Yeah.
Like there hasn't been a lot of things of consequence that have come out because of the timing. Nobody wants
King.
to put out their big game.
Yeah.
Did you watch Tiger King?
I did watch Tiger King.
Yeah. I was excited about it at first. Now I'm over it.
Well, yeah.
It's all right.
That was dumb.
I do remember when I worked for the fucking magician in Branson, like they randomly mention a Zanesville zoo thing in like Ohio where a bunch of animals got out and they had to kill them all. Like that was something that was actually on my radar because this was a guy who had a lot of my magician guy. He had like just horses and birds and stuff, but it was still like part of the community.
Right. You were one step removed from a
Yeah,
tiger
so it was
person.
Like, oh shit, I kind of know about that. Like that's a thing I've heard about.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea that there were privately owned tigers in the United States until I saw that shit.
Oh, for sure. There's a big one like between where my parents live and Springfield, Missouri. It's kind of cool. Like,
See, I feel like it's all a Midwest thing.
Like, yeah, it's very Midwest. It's very
I'm so
country,
East or West Coast
I
centric
guess,
that
yeah.
I'm immune to not knowing about
Yeah,
this
growing up in Texas, I knew of them.
shit. Yeah, I don't doubt
Like, it's horrible for
it.
like the
your
predators.
Dad has tigers, right?
Yeah. I got one in my backyard.
like I wasn't okay with the tigers and lions. I don't know if they had tigers, but they definitely had lions at this one drive-through safari.
I really want to say bears oh my right now, but I'm going to refrain.
Wait, what?
I really want to say bears oh my right now, but I'm going to refrain because
Yes.
it's too obvious. But I just did, so there's that.
There it is. I don't think they were bears. It doesn't matter.
I want a bear.
But no, it was cool with all the other animals, like I want to hug a bear.
Jeremy Cross is
I'll
right
hug
here.
you.
No, it's not okay. It's COVID.
Right, yeah.
No hugs. I miss hugs.
I do too, right?
Yeah.
I miss hugging my friends.
Me too.
He's not a hugger. I don't hug him. But other friends that are actual friends, I hug. Yeah, you know, as a hugger, which we both are.
I'm not generally, but I miss it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm always a hugger. I've always been a hugger. Probably to some people's lament, but like, whatever.
No, it's good if you're like a non-hugger and you meet somebody who really is, and it's like, oh, I don't have to feel awkward about this. I can just get a hug.
Just overpowered by it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that doesn't fly with everybody who's
No,
a
for
non-hugger.
sure. No, I probably can't speak for the rest of the world.
I
don't
should
know.
probably ask permission before I hug people.
But you
I feel
do
like that's the world we live in
thing,
now.
Like you open your arms and it's like, wait for them to do a
I've
thing.
definitely had people shy
Yeah.
from a hug. They do the,
And then don't push it.
and I'm like, oh, well, high five.
Yeah.
And moving on. But yeah, hugs are good. Like human contact. Like there's got to be a shitload of people just starved for human contact right
Yeah.
now. Like I know that that's not important for everybody,
Yeah.
but you
But
know,
it's more important than open up like fucking retail stores and stuff.
Sure.
Like, that's a big thing, and it's not something that's, I don't know, really
should we
focused
open
on.
up a hug brothel?
I
Like mandatory testing on the weekly?
kind of
for
want to get
COVID?
like big hazmat suits and just like
Just hug through
spray them down with,
Yeah.
I don't know, stuff between hugs.
I can get into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little claustrophobic, so a hazmat suit sounds like hell, but I would do it for the good hugs, for sure. All right. So, is there anything to look forward to? And if there is, what is it?
Kat Philbin's solo show this Saturday at the Dark Art
I was
Emporium.
not doing that. That is not what I was doing. I'm saying, like, I was talking with my wife about this earlier today. It's like, we have time to do things. We have all of this ability to move about the world and go places and see things, but no ability to do it because of the problems.
Yeah.
And it's really stifling. So it's like all the concerts are canceled. You know, you can't go on vacation. What's there to look forward to? What are you looking for? Is there something that you have that is that carrot on the stick that keeps you going right now?
I really don't. I mean, I've got some more work to do. I've got like another like group show coming up and like some commissions and things, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to travel or like do stuff, and you're breaking me down, man.
So sorry, dude. But like, I feel like it's an
I don't
important part of
know.
the conversation because it's like we as humans
Yeah.
need things to look forward to. We're constantly planning. We're always looking for the next thing, the next level, the next whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like for us to have this lengthy stagnation, we have to create things for ourselves to look forward to.
Yeah, but
And
I mean,
what are they?
also, I mean, a big part for me of coming to terms with this whole quarantine and everything thing has been like meditation and like focusing on the now and not on what's coming forward.
Oh, that's cool.
So I don't know what to say, what's going to come up. Yeah.
So you were doing meditation.
Yeah, I mean, initially I was struggling a lot. It was really hard for me, and I was sad and confused and not sure what I was doing, and meditation helps me really a lot to not struggle as much, like it just to accept that this is where we are, and I'm okay. Like
That
everything's
seems very
fine.
pragmatic, and it makes perfect sense. It terrifies me.
It does?
Being alone with my thoughts? Have you met me?
Nah, man, I'm fucked up too. I've got a lot of weird thoughts. It's just you kind of have to do it, and at the beginning it's harder because you have to.
What makes
like,
it harder?
Well, at the beginning it's harder because you have to confront all that, like the things that make you not want to be just quiet with yourself. I guess.
Shutting out the static and
Yeah, and like I don't know if there's something wrong with my brain, but it just like doesn't want to stop. But you kind of have to calm it like a wild horse. I don't know. Just like chill out.
Break that brain.
Break that brain.
I mean, I've always seen you as a very kind and slightly socially awkward person.
Yeah.
But your kindness and your positive energy, not in any ethereal or weirdness sense, just overpowered that every time. Like, I don't know. I've always seen you as just a really positive, nice person. So, we all have our own darknesses that we have to face. And we obviously don't show that to everybody that
Yeah.
we meet. But that was always my perception. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I try real hard for that. I don't know.
Maybe I'll try meditation. I've been saying it for years. I have so many friends that do it and benefit from it. And it sounds like a great idea until you do it.
I know. I mean, it definitely feels like I'm being just another one of those folks that's like, oh, I don't care about your actual problems. Just like meditate. It doesn't matter. But I don't know. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't. That's fine. Like, I have used the whole Headspace app, which I think is still free for LA folks.
That's a meditation app?
Yes. And
No
it's
kidding.
guided, and so it helps me because my brain is always like firing a whole
What a
lot.
fucking
So it's
weird
somebody to
world.
just like say, like, this is the thing you're supposed to be doing. I don't
Hey,
know.
this ancient Eastern practice
I know,
that has
and
helped
it's an
people
app.
for millennia. Here's a fucking app for that.
It works though.
And I've done
use it?
Yeah, I've used it.
Yeah, it's
I
nice.
know he does it too. Like I said, a lot of people I know do it. And kudos to you for
When you have
making it work.
anxiety, like I have, like crazy anxiety, like it totally like chills you out. Like it gives you like that 10 to 15 minutes of just nothing.
I think I believe that everybody has anxiety, but I think I bury mine really well, and so I don't have to face it. And this may be like woo, getting real, but like meditation, I feel like I have to face it for the first time, and I'm fucking 44 years old. Like that's a lot of anxiety to take on at once.
It's weird. Like you have to get over that hump of like how corny it is.
Yeah.
It's
Like
corny,
because like the first
but-
couple times I've done it, like I feel like an asshole, like because it's like no, it's like that the calming voice like talking to you like now feel like your weight come off your shoulders and blah blah blah, like all this. It's silly. But but it works. Like as much as I fight it, like if you actually dive in and do it, like it helps.
Yeah.
My son stumbled across a meditation video on YouTube, kids' YouTube channel called Cosmic Kids. And ever since he started, it's been 2 years since he found this. He will not go to sleep at night unless I play a Cosmic Kids meditation
Oh, wow.
episode for him. So he meditates every night going to sleep. And it's strange because he's the most hyperactive, malicious little shit I've ever met in my entire life. I love him dearly.
Yeah.
And he's an awesome kid, but like, it ain't helping him.
Well, it helps him go to
Help
sleep.
him go to sleep.
It helps him go
yeah.
to sleep. Yeah, it does help him go to sleep. And maybe that because of who he is, because he's really high strung, he's a lot like me. Poor kid. Maybe that's good for him. But
I mean, I use meditation to fall asleep too.
do you?
Yeah.
I have some anxiety with some of the sleep ones. Like I've got a couple that I'm okay with, but I'm always slightly scared that like as soon as my brain turns off, it's gonna be like, and now you have to, I don't know, do evil things. Like it's gonna turn into something awful.
Wow.
Like it's a random anxiety that's not healthy at all.
Yeah.
But I like have
We won't look
like
into that at all.
2 or 3 healthy like I don't know trusted.
I kind of want to make that
No,
one now.
I don't like. That's why I don't. That's why I have to have this app. Like I tried to do random YouTube ones, and it's like, no, I don't know if it's going to turn into something awful as soon as my brain shuts off and like give me, I don't know, like MK Ultra style like instructions to go.
That's a
kill
level of
somebody.
paranoia that I'm kind of impressed by.
I know it's hiding in there. It's not healthy.
And I'm not saying that it's not founded in any kind of reality at all. It's just, damn, I would never have thought of it.
I just had to bring it up if I'm like recommending, I don't know,
Yeah.
meditation apps. Then like also there's this one, like a couple of fears that I have.
What do they call that? A sleeper cell.
Yes.
Turn
yeah.
you into a sleeper cell.
Like somebody just has to say the right word,
Right.
and then I like
Farfignugan, and you're killing somebody.
yeah.
You're
and
taking
I'm
out a politician.
super assassin, which also feels kind of cool, but I don't
Sure.
think I want that to happen. I don't know.
She's a Black Widow. Watch. She's a
Oh.
Scarlett Johansson.
What's the other one? The Red Sparrow. I haven't seen that yet. With
Red Sparrow, I
I
haven't
think
seen
that
that either.
was Jennifer Lawrence. I don't know, but
That
a
reminds
similar
me,
thing,
though.
right?
Last thing, I'm going to tangent away from this
Yes,
because I
do it.
wanted to ask you this. Are you a comic book nerd?
Not super much, no.
Then what about the zine? Where did that desire to create a zine come from?
I mean, I'm not.
And I'm not saying that the two are definitely correlated. For me, one leads to the other.
Yeah.
But
I mean, okay. Comic book nerd specifies a very specific thing. That's
comic
stupid.
book
But
appreciator?
I appreciate them.
I didn't mean it
yeah,
to
and
be-
no, but like I don't
I see
have
nerd
an
as a positive,
encyclopedic
yeah.
knowledge of comic books, and like if I said like, yeah, I'm a comic book nerd, then people would be like, no, you're not.
What happened
You're
at
fucking
Batman
not.
435?
Yeah. No, I've always had some comic books in my life, and it's always been sort of a thing, and like the whole DIY aspect of like making your own little book thing is kind of cool. Fuck, then what? I don't know. I had comic books growing up. But like
Did you have a favorite as a kid or teenager?
It was stuff that I randomly got in like free book boxes from like my parents' friends and stuff like that. So I didn't really have the resources to go to comic book shops and get my own stuff. I had like a few X-Men books that I was really into.
X-Men are
And
rad.
like it was awesome. And
Yeah.
I always bought like X-Files comics. I was really into the X-Files.
I never read an X-Files comic.
I don't actually have any memories of what they entailed,
Yeah.
but it was just a thing that I liked. Like I loved the X-Files itself, and like yeah, so I got the comics. And so that whole DIY thing has definitely infiltrated, and I want to make my own stuff. I don't want to just self-publish a book. And
Now, you've done a coloring book.
a couple, yeah.
Yeah. Is this your first zine?
No, I've done a few. I don't know what technically makes it a zine, but I've done a few.
You've done a few zines.
Yeah.
Okay. But the zine that you're releasing with this show is new.
Yes.
Okay.
Brand new.
All right. Well, that's important.
All brand new.
All brand new. 20 new pieces, right?
Probably.
Probably.
Around there.
Around there.
Circa.
Circa.
All right. We'll find out what they're all called. Maybe not their secret names,
No.
but we'll find out their public names tomorrow. By the way, we're recording this on Tuesday. It's Tuesday, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Time has no meaning
right?
anymore.
It's so fucking weird. But so by Wednesday, we should know the public names to all the works. By Thursday, our collectors that get our previews will see the works for the first time. And then on Saturday, you're going to be joining us for the Facebook Live reception of your works here in the gallery.
I guess so.
And then we'll release all of the stuff online.
Yeah.
immediately thereafter or that day.
And we get to drink with each other again.
Yay.
I mean,
It's-
so terrible. Oh my god. I'm excited because I've the last 2 Facebook Lives that we've done, I've been a solo act, and it's been like an hour and a half of improv, and I'm really looking forward to having a partner during that.
I am not prepared for it. Like, this has been one thing, but I don't know. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
It'll work out.
Well, you'll
It'll
be
You know
fine.
what? It'll be great. It'll be great. And you know what? Even if you only talk 10% of my 90, you know, at least it helps. But you know, the people are going to want to know what the pieces are and what you put into them, and they're going to be excited to hear your perspective, even if you're not willing to offer that much, even if
Okay.
even if you're just willing to give them a little taste
Yeah.
of where it came from, maybe a word of its secret name.
All right. Maybe I'll just come and like dance like one of those windsock puppets in a corner.
That
and
could
that's
work
all
too.
I've got for you.
I'm all about that.
Yeah, he just stands in the corner and laughs at me for an hour and a half. So
I put links.
yeah,
I do the
He's
links.
doing some work.
he does, he's doing something other than laughing at me, but mostly he's just laughing at me, which is fair. Well, Kat, I really want to thank you for being on the podcast with us and for doing this show with us and for keeping the show going amidst everything that's happened in the 13 months or so that have transpired since we agreed to do this together.
It's been a lot.
It's been a fucking weird journey. So thank you for fulfilling that and
Thank
for
you.
bringing it to us. And her work is amazing if you don't know it. You should know it. You will know it. Take the time to dig in, not just into the show that we're presenting, but take the time
All
to dig
of
into
it.
what she's done. Because it's really impressive, and it's not just that she's an amazing artist and a truly kind and wonderful person. So get out there, buy her work, support her, follow her at Stupid Animals.
At Stupid Animals on Instagram.
What's your
I guess-
website?
I don't have one at the
What the
moment.
fuck, you
I
millennial
know.
scum!
I know it's terrible, but like social media does the job, and
does,
I
though.
let some stuff expire. I've got an Etsy shop, which is a Stupid Animal shop.
So your Etsy is, I don't know how Etsy works. Like, is it an @ Is it a hashtag?
I think
Stupid
it's
Animal.
like shop/Stupid Animal Shop,
Okay.
or just search Google because that's easier, and I don't know.
Why Stupid Animals real quick? If it's quick?
Self-deprecation for
Yeah?
sure. Yeah, no. Like I started out as like everybody's drawing like really pretty fucking lions and shit, and I was like, I just want to draw the stupid ones. I want to draw walruses with big tusks and like lots of wrinkles. I don't
Perfect.
know. Yeah, and I held on to it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great and the fact that you have
I'm
the original.
glad I
is
own
great.
it.
Yeah,
I'm fucking Stupid Animals.
that's rad.
It's me.
Well, thank you everybody who's been listening. Thank you to Kat Philbin.
Thank you for having me.
Fuck you, Jeremy Schott.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank
You
you,
had to
Shaq.
apologize and make me sound horrible. You couldn't have just thrown it back.
Sorry. Sorry, guys. I'm here.
Oh, somebody's had one too many beers. All right, we got to go. But thank you for being here. Good night, everybody.
Good night.